Hi, Amanda. As the host at my daughter's wedding, you have to make sure you don't make any mistakes and follow my script. If anything goes wrong, it'll bring shame upon me. Hello, Cynthia. I already told you the other day, but I plan to skip her wedding. I'm not good at speaking in front of lots of people, and I thought Kaori wanted her best friend to be the host. You're my daughter-in-law. Don't complain and just do as I say. I want to create my ideal wedding and you're gonna help me make it happen. But Kaori said as long as Travis enjoys it, she won't have any particular preferences. Don't you want to make your sister-in-law's wedding a success? I do, but now I'm in the last month of pregnancy, so I want to avoid any risks. The wedding venue is a bit far from my hospital and some people may get drunk. You know? This is my first time giving birth, so I'm very nervous. Plus, I don't want to cause any trouble at her wedding. It's not good for the baby if you get too nervous. As a woman who has experienced childbirth twice, I'll give you some advice. In order to give birth to a healthy baby, you need to exercise. Coming to the wedding would be the perfect opportunity for you to get good exercise. I'll have you by my side as my servant to entertain the guests, so come, okay? I knew you were trying to use me like your servant. You're my daughter-in-law, so I have the right to use you as I please. I thought I helped you enough already with the preparation. I even helped you pay for the wedding. Can't you at least give me a break for the last month? Don't be lazy. Anyway, I will never allow you to skip the wedding. Got it? You useless daughter-in-law. I can't believe you really skipped Kaori's wedding. It's such a shame that my eldest son's wife didn't attend. I told you in advance, didn't I? I'm in my last month of pregnancy and my due date is coming up. I told you I wanted to skip the wedding to avoid any trouble. I didn't think you'd really be absent. Well, it's too late for you to apologize now. What? What do you mean? We don't need a useless daughter-in-law who would skip her sister-in-law's wedding just because she's in her last month of pregnancy. I filed for your divorce today. Now it's time for you to get out of this house. You filed divorce? Divorce between Travis and me? That's right. A useless woman like you is no good for my son. You can't just file for other people's divorce. I have to call the authorities right away. It's too late. It's already been accepted. I just did some research and it seems that divorce papers submitted without consent can be invalidated. Too bad, but this is all because of you skipping Kaori's wedding. Without you, I had no one to do my biddings, and the wedding became nowhere near my ideal wedding. So I think you should just shut up and accept the divorce. Aren't you worried about the baby in my belly? Don't you hope for the best for her? Nothing bad will happen. I think you've seen too many dramas. Anyway, until you reflect on your actions enough, I won't let you in my house. Now, pack up your stuff and get out of this house. We're going to the after party, so you should be out by the time we get back. Amanda, how are you feeling? I'm heading home now, so let me know if you need anything. I'm still fine, thank you for your concern. But don't you have to go to the after party too? I had no intention of going. If I were Kaori and her friends, I wouldn't want my parents to come. But your wife said she's going. Yeah, she wasn't happy with today's wedding. I guess she's going to the after party to vent her frustration. But I don't know if it's gonna be fun partying with such young people. I'm sorry. It's because of me. Why are you apologizing? Your wife is in a bad mood because I missed the wedding. Did Cynthia say something to you? Yes, that a useless wife who misses her sister-in-law's wedding should get out of the house. What? I'm sorry, Amanda. No, you've done nothing wrong. What the hell is Cynthia doing? You're in the last month of pregnancy. How is gonna take responsibility if something happens to you or the baby? Has she done anything else to you? As a matter of fact, she filed for our divorce without permission. No way. I'm going to call the authorities tomorrow and ask them to take it down, but I was surprised it'd go that far. Okay, I'll talk to her about it too. You tipped off my husband. He got mad at me because of you. It's the daughter-in-law's duty to accept the mother-in-law's words without telling others about it. Shame on you. I've done nothing wrong. You know, I'm in the last month of pregnancy and still you try to kick me out. Your actions have gone too far. I don't care what you think. A daughter-in-law who won't even listen to her mother-in-law needs this much of a punishment. Enough is enough. You may dislike me and that's totally fine, but I have a child in my belly now. How could you kick me out of the house or file for divorce when I'm in such a condition? How can you be so cruel? This is my first childbirth. I'm worried every day if I'll be able to give birth safely. Please don't disturb me anymore. You're so annoying. This house you're living in now is ours. You should be grateful that you get to live in such a fine house. You really don't care what happens to me or the baby. What I want is a lovely daughter-in-law who is obedient. I don't want a rebellious wife like you. I understand. Then I have my thoughts too. I'm sure it's not something that will trouble me. You'd better be prepared. I have nothing to be afraid of. Try to trouble me if you can. Hey, Greg. I can't get in the house. What's happening here? The key doesn't fit. Did that useless daughter-in-law do something? Amanda has nothing to do with it. Then who did this? It's my doing. You changed the locks? Yes, I changed the locks on the house while you were out. You can't get into the house with the key you have now. Huh, why would you do that? I can't get into the house with this. I'd understand if you're trying to get rid of that useless woman, but why would you lock me out of our house? You told Amanda to get out of this house. So what? Amanda will never leave the house. We're the ones who have to leave. What do you mean? We built that house. So why are you saying that as if it belongs to Amanda? In fact, it's Amanda's house. Why? Explain it to me so I can understand. This house was built with a loan made by us. But you designed it unnecessarily gorgeous to show off. The extravagant exterior, a huge yard with extra space, and even the interior is elaborate. In the end, we had to take on a lot of debt to pay the mortgage on the house, right? Yes, but you said you already paid that off. Were you not listening to me? It's not us who paid off the debt. It was Amanda's father who took care of it. What? Amanda's father made a proposal to pay off the rest of the debt, saying he was grateful that his daughter could live in such a nice house in an ideal location. Amanda seemed to have told him how much he liked our house. His only condition was to change the house owner to his daughter. We were planning to give this house to our son and his wife eventually, so I agreed. That's why the house is hers. You never told me about that. Why did you agree to that without asking me? I did tell you, but you only heard the part where it would be free of debt. You said I could do anything as long as the debt would be paid off. Anyway, if Amanda doesn't want to live with us, she has a right to kick us out. Oh, no! Not only will she not attend the wedding, but she's kicking her family out? I can't believe this. Greg, let's sue that woman. No. She gave me permission to live there, so there's no need for me to sue her. What? Amanda said Travis and I can continue to live there. She could have kicked us all out right away, but she was kind enough to let us stay. So I'm the only one who got kicked out? You have no right to be angry at her. You know what you've done to her, right? That woman. She messed with my family. I'll pay for you to stay in a hotel for a few days. So, in the meantime, think about what you should do. You could apologize to Amanda and ask for her forgiveness if you want to live here. Or you can just live on your own. I'll never apologize. Could you talk to Amanda and ask her to forgive me? If you ask her, I'm sure she will forgive me. I told you, didn't I? If you want to come back to this house again, apologize to Amanda. Well, it's up to her whether she forgives you or not. You're just taking her side because she's young. Did she seduce you to gain more allies? No wonder you're so nice to that woman. Stop saying such rude things. I just don't approve of your behavior, that's all. Don't blame Amanda for everything. If it wasn't her fault, whose fault is it? Don't you get it? You brought this whole thing on yourself, didn't you? I'm fed up with your pretentiousness. At Kara's wedding, you ignored the bride's wishes and forced your own ideals on her. As a result, the wedding cost became too much for us to afford, and you had Amanda to support you. It's the same with the house. I told you we should build a house that suits our needs, nothing more. But you went and talked to the builders on your own, and the budget increased. The result is that debt. If it wasn't for Amanda and her father, we'd still be struggling to pay our debts. But the debt is already paid, so it's all good, right? It's not that simple. I have a problem with your way of thinking. Even this time at the wedding, you just tried to make your pregnant daughter-in-law work to make yourself look good. She's carrying our grandchildren. How could you do such an inhumane thing? You can still work even if you're pregnant. You're too paranoid. I guess there's nothing I can say to change your thoughts. But I'll tell you this much. It's not Amanda and our son who should file for divorce. It's us. You're kidding. I'm tired of dealing with you. You won't listen to me at all. Besides, I don't want a wife who commits crimes. Crime? What are you talking about? I assume you didn't know, but filing divorce papers for others without their permission is a crime of forgery. Amanda decided to file a police report against you. I'm her family, and yet how can she do that? Doesn't she have a human heart? Besides, if we get divorced, she'll cut ties with you and you won't be her family anymore. So no problem about that. Well, then I'll call you when I have the divorce papers ready. In the meantime, you just sit tight and stay at that hotel. I didn't commit any crime. Listen, Greg. Hey! This is all your fault. If you only hadn't missed the wedding, none of this would have happened. Then I wouldn't have been dumped by Greg. I told you I have my way of doing things. You should have cared more about others than your pride. You're overreacting about being in the last month of pregnancy. There's no problem just walking around the wedding venue. Stop imposing your values on me. It's not like you don't know how my own mother died. What was it that happened to your mother? You forgot? I'll remind you then. It happened when she was pregnant with my sister. She died in the last month of her pregnancy due to premature separation of the normally planted placenta. Her mother-in-law was always bullying her. I don't know if it was stress or overwork that caused it, but in the end, neither my sister nor my mother survived. Seeing my mother pass away like that, I was terrified of this last month of pregnancy. That's why I wanted to take it easy and rest. And yet, in order for you to look good with minimal effort, you try to put me and my baby at risk. You don't even feel ashamed of your stupid actions. I don't want to live with such a person any longer. If you had such a reason, you should have told me. You just tried to skip the wedding without any explanation, so that's why I was troubled. I did tell you that I wanted to skip the wedding in order to avoid risks, but you wouldn't take things seriously. Well, now I understand what kind of person you are. You only care about yourself. Stop saying rude things to me. Don't be puffed up just because you have Greg on your side. You're just a normal girl with a wealthy father, that's all. I wonder who it was that you asked for financial aid for Kaori's wedding. You? Oh, by the way, if you get a divorce, I'll cut ties with you, and we will no longer be family. Then I will charge you for all the money I've sent you in the past. What? Not only Kaori's wedding expenses, but also half of the debt my father paid. I'm going to ask you to take responsibility for that. There's no way I can pay for that. You're asking me to get a job at this age? If you don't have the money, then you'll have to get a job and work. Both expenses were just paid temporarily by me and my father. But you signed a contract saying you'd have to pay it back if you didn't meet the conditions. Greg is the one who was negotiating, so you should charge him instead of me. As for the wedding cost, you should charge Kaori since it was her wedding. No, the contract has your name and signature. It's only right to charge you for them. You may have not read it thoroughly, but both my father's contract and mine says you'll have to pay back the money if I ever cut ties with you. Oh, no. What should I do? There's no way I can pay that much money. If you work like crazy, I'm sure you'll be able to manage. My life from now on will be only to pay off my debts. That's what you get for putting your pride first. Please, Amanda, help me. I've tried to compromise enough, but it was you who rejected me. Oh, no. We don't need a person with no common sense in our family. I'll pay for the wedding expenses, so please don't charge me for the debt. Please, Amanda. I got text from your wife a while ago. I told her what we were planning to do. I knew she'd contact you. I'm sorry to trouble you to the end. Not at all. I knew I had Travis and you on my side, so I was able to muster up the courage. I even feel a little better now that I've had a chance to vent all my anger. And actually, I reflected a bit on my own actions. There's nothing for you to reflect on, is there, Amanda? I just thought maybe I was being a little too cautious. I mean, it's my first baby, and I have some trauma with my mother's death. But I have to be more confident about giving birth, or else my baby will be worried, thinking I'm an unreliable mother. I think you will be a good mother. You've been putting so much thought into your child even before the baby's born. Thank you, Greg. I'm sure you'll be a great grandpa for the baby too. After my in-laws divorced, she asked me for an out-of-court settlement. I decided to accept the settlement on the advice of my lawyer, but her debts increased even more. And yet, I hear she's still unemployed. She was recently seen hanging around a consumer loan office, so I hope she just decides to get a job instead of drowning into further debts. As for myself, my delivery went off with no problems. When the contractions came, I thought of my mother and became anxious. But the moment I saw the baby's face, everything blew away. I feel like I finally overcame years of trauma. Recently, my husband and I have been discussing when to have our second child.